Vivimos en una guerra sin restricciones. Las convencionales se han desvanecido y la noche del 24 de octubre, tras meses de tensiones, China comunista empieza a resquebrajarse por una parte y trae consigo a sus socios. Desde esa fecha, se han filtrado informaciones de la laptop del hijo del candidato demócrata Joe Biden, Hunter, que muestran que el Partido Comunista Chino ha estado tomando control sobre distintos actores políticos y sociales bajo el esquema BGI. Esto lo hemos podido ver en nuestro reciente reportaje y trabajo informativo. Sin olvidarnos que, a estas alturas, los verificadores de noticias empiezan a tildar de bulo la información. Recordemos que la mayoría opera en un esquema de interés, como revelamos en otro reportaje, la verdad sobre los verificadores. Sin embargo, la voz de Hunter Biden y las informaciones que sigan saliendo en los próximos días no van a hacer más que redondear y no objetar una verdad a todas luces cierta. La corrupción opera en el clan Biden, con conocimiento de causa. A continuación, mostramos 3 informaciones que han salido en las últimas horas en relación al tema, como que el FBI investiga a Biden y, en la caja de descripción, informaciones anexas. FBI investiga a Hunter Biden.
And his Chinese Communist Party partners completed a series of American companies' acquisition through their partnership at BHR, of which Hunter owns 10% interest. Did the American and Chinese people benefit from the deals? The answer is no. Take a look at the following example in the automotive industry. In 2016, BHR and Ivic Auto bought out Henniges Automotive. Such acquisition was described as one of the largest acquisitions by a Chinese company of a US-based automotive manufacturing company in history during the press release. Ivic, a PLA-owned company, had been on the US sanction list before the Obama administration. Yet Hunter Biden smooths the regulatory approval process in the US, and the CCP provided the capital. In 2017, Henniges announced the opening of a nearly 80,000 square foot manufacturing plant in Suzhou, China, and there have been no reports of job creation in the US by Henniges since the acquisition. Should we be happy for the Chinese people who might be better off with the jobs brought by Hunter Biden? Not really. China is known for churning out cheap and low quality products. China's low price comes at a cost to the Chinese people in terms of low wages, poor working conditions, and environmental pollution. In essence, Hunter turned high-quality American jobs into slave work in communist China. The BHR deals are win-win for the Biden family and the CCP, but lose-lose for Americans and Chinese.
Ucrania incrimina a Joe Biden.
Democrat presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden finds himself in more hot water this week. Just confirmed, a Ukrainian court ordered Joe Biden to be formally listed in a criminal case. The crime? The alleged firing of Ukraine's former Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin in exchange for dropping an investigation into Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, and the company for which he was a board member, Burisma Oil. Shokin formally called for an investigation into his firing back in February of 2020, claiming the Ukrainian government at the time relieved Shokin of his post in exchange for $1 billion in loan guarantees promised by Biden, a bribe Biden himself admitted to doing.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. You got fired.
But at the time Shokin called for this case back in February, the courts listed one of the defendants as an unnamed American, an individual widely understood to be Joe Biden, Obama's Ukraine point man. But Biden was never formally named. Now, the courts have ruled it is improper to conceal Biden's name and that there is sufficient evidence to proceed with an investigation. The ruling cannot be appealed. Another key development in this story is the release of a series of telephone conversations that has garnered major questions. Andrei Derkach, a member of parliament in Ukraine, in a press conference Tuesday released what he says appear to be voice recordings of then Secretary of State John Kerry, Vice President Joe Biden, and then President of Ukraine Poroshenko, discussing the Burisma case and discussing the removal of Viktor Shokin. Neither Kerry, Biden, nor Poroshenko have affirmed the verity of these recordings. The recordings appear to have been leaked from government officials and whistleblowers, but are currently being verified. Ukrainian President Zelensky stated he anticipates more developments over the course of the summer and says the case could qualify as high treason. Candidate Biden has yet to respond to this latest development.
Revelan identidad de socio del audio de Hunter.
You probably have heard the name of Ye Jianming over and over again in the Biden family's corruption story. In the leaked audio, Hunter Biden described the man as his partner, and he said, quote, "My partner, who is worth $323 billion, is now missing," end quote. According to Lude Media, Ye was killed by the CCP after a few murder attempts and was thrown in the Yangtze River. Who is this man? What's the implication of his death? According to the New York Post, Ye is the 50-50 partner with Hunter Biden in a holding company called Hudson West, which was expected to provide Biden with more than $10 million annually for introductions alone. Ye was born in 1977, and his first break came when he purchased a small piston factory that supplied the Chinese army. In 2002, Ye founded CEFC, a Chinese energy company. And 12 years later, CEFC was among the 10 largest private companies in China. Ye is not just a business tycoon. According to Lude Media, Ye was a spy chief and a close associate of Xi Jinping, Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party. Ye was detained in December 2018 after the Bidens suspected Ye might betray the Xi-Biden coalition. He is now resting at the bottom of the Yangtze River. Ye's story is a recurring theme in Communist China. The CCP cultivated businessmen to launder money and capture foreign elites under the BGY scheme. BGY represents tactics of using internet, money, and sex to bribe elites worldwide. The CCP can make anyone a tycoon and kill him if he becomes a liability to them. Maybe the Bidens and those colluding with the CCP can get the warning sign from the tragedy of Ye Jianming, and we, the people, should also learn a lesson from the story. As long as the CCP exists, they will continue to capture corrupt elites to enslave.
I get calls from my father to tell me that the New York Times is calling, but my old partner Eric, who literally has done me harm for I don't know how long, is the one taking the calls because my father will not stop sending the calls to Eric. I have another New York Times reporter calling about my representation of the, literally, Dr. Patrick Ko, the fucking spy chief of China, who started the company that my partner, who was worth $323 billion, founded, and is now missing. The richest man in the world is missing, who was my partner. He was missing since I last saw him in his $58 million apartment and signed a $4 billion deal to build the fucking largest fucking LNG port in the world. And I am receiving calls from the Southern District of New York, from the U.S. Attorney himself. My best friend in business, Devin, has named me as a witness without telling me in a criminal case, and my father without telling me.
In Trump Towers, he said he was doing it before he hit the ground floor. Remember what he said? He said, "I'm going to take on those rapist Mexicans." Then he claimed, no, there's never been a president.
That's a lie, Joe.
Never been a president.
That's a lie.
Oh, it is a lie.
Yeah. And it was your son in the Ukraine. All right. Yeah. You're the one that offered to withhold $1 billion. The Council on Foreign Relations.